tell us what you guys are doing here at TwitchCon.
Well, I'm here with Motiga, and we're making Gigantic, which is coming out on Windows 10 and Xbox One, and we're here mostly, we're not exhibiting, we're just visiting, we're listening, we're learning, we're meeting, we're networking, but it's a big time for us because the game remains in closed beta. It's been there for a few months now, but we actually just lifted a certain amount of the NDA to allow a selective number of people begin doing some broadcasting, some streaming, and things like that. So our Gigantic authorized beta broadcaster program just kicked off yesterday.
Nice.
And we're seeing the results of it today with the beta servers open.
Awesome. Well, for those who are unfamiliar, tell them about the game itself.
Absolutely. Gigantic is a free-to-play shooter MOBA. It is a 5-on-5 competitive game that will remind you in basic ways of many other MOBA-esque games where it's about territory control on the map, taking over control points and accruing power that way. You level up during a match, a wide range of heroes that sort of come inspired from different genres, right? Unlike other MOBAs, we have guys, if you're a shooter player, you'll find characters that appeal to you there. We have a guy who's kind of a martial arts fighter, different things like that. But the real difference in Gigantic is the Guardians. It's not so much a 5-on-5 game, even though you have 5 players on a team, it's a 6-on-6 because you have this giant AI Guardian with you. Right. And the objective of the game is to kill the enemy Guardian while protecting your own. The idea of calling it a shooter MOBA, though, is more about it's not an isometric top-down view, it's a third-person view, it's a lot of aiming and dodging and precision and keeping a reticle on a target. So it's a very fast-paced, exciting game in that regard, and people are getting pretty excited about it. So far, so good.
Well, absolutely, and it sounds like something that would be good for streaming. So tell us a little bit about the streaming community and what you are looking for out of them in terms of facilitating knowledge and awareness about your game.
Absolutely. So Gigantic right now, being in beta, it's not a game that we've taken it to PAX and we've taken it to Gamescom, we've done that, but it is a closed beta right now, it's invite only, and we haven't been able to show it to a lot of people. At the same time, we're little independent studio and partnered strongly with Microsoft, but we have to do things like get our new player experience done, our tutorial, and we need to add more servers, more languages. So there are a lot of people who, when they see a trailer like, ooh, that looks really intriguing, but I'm not sure I really understand it. How exactly do I work with my Guardian? What exactly do I have to do to accrue the power it takes to get my Guardian to rage to the other side of the map and attack the enemy Guardian? Those are the kinds of things that we start to see in the streaming community. And a lot of what we're seeing now as well are things where people are like, hey, here's how to play Hero X. Maybe you're a Trip fan, maybe you're a Taito fan, maybe you're an Uncle Sven guy because you're doing a little healing and such. But going through that process, in a game where we do not yet have all those bits and pieces around the surface because the focus has been very much on a very tight session. Now we start adding all the pieces around it. The community's doing a terrific job of educating people of this because, yeah, you're in the match, you're leveling up, and you get a little thing that says, oh, put a skill point here or here. That's kind of hard to figure out when you're in the middle of a very frantic game. And so our community's doing a great job of bringing new players in and helping them out.
Well, we've been speaking with a lot of people all day today, typically from really big IPs and not projects that are kind of trying to make headway in this space. So I'm really curious about your approach to community in that, is it a double-edged sword when people start talking about something that they might not be knowledgeable about it? How do you manage that? How are you working with particular people to make sure, and if there are things wrong with the game, I'd say, yes, we recognize that, we're going to address it, we're going to fix it, but it's a lot more important and crucial when you're a smaller studio or a new IP that you have positive feedback or that you're able to manage that feedback compared to working on a huge brand that has a lot of leeway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that we really did in the beginning that I think is a little different here at Motiga and that we really enjoy is the idea of what we've started calling our community coach program, which precedes all the stuff we've been doing publicly in events and at streaming, where basically as the game started getting out there a bit, we found people in the community who had a lot of passion for the game. Some of them had been followers of other employees of Motiga at other studios they had worked at and such, and we have taken these people and brought them in with us where they aren't just sitting there, in the game itself, educating people how to play, but we fly them to our events. We bring them to PAX, we bring them to Gamescom, they help staff the booth with us, and they coach players during the game itself. So you'll see a team of 5 playing against a team on 5, each with a community rep right there, sort of like, hey, everybody go to this point, everybody do this, here's what, now we need to head down this passage, we need to make this objective happen. It just adds a lot more positive energy. And frankly, for those of us who've worked in the industry for a while, it is always refreshing to see how your community just loves the game more than you as a developer ever will, right?
Right.
It's at some level it does become a business, and it's about certain things, but for the community, it is about the joy and the passion of the game. So that's a big part of how we begin that process and have that dialogue. We're trying to build a community, and so far so good that MOBAs and shooters both have had a fair amount of toxicity in the community.
Just a little.
Just a little, and it's not just about feedback to the developer, right? But it is also the interaction they have with each other.
Right.
And this community coach program for us is the seed of how we work to dispel as much of that as possible.
Right.
We want this game to be super, super competitive, but we think you can have a game like that and for people to still be civil and not talk about each other's moms, right? We
Yes.
think we can do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's one of the big things that everyone's talking about, success and measuring success, but success for your brand could be establishing the brand identity as well and making sure that it's reinforced through the people who are playing the game. So tell us quickly where the game is at in development. And, I'm sorry, we actually have a couple more minutes, so I have time for a couple more questions.
Sure, I'm ready.
Okay, so obviously launching games these days happens in phases.
Yes.
And once you actually get to launch, a new phase begins. It's not shipped and done. So what is the hope in post-launch, and how would you measure success, particularly not just in sales and involvement, but also what it means in terms of content that's coming from the game and the Twitch community? What do you determine to be success? Just sheer volume or sentiment or what?
It's a lot of all that, right? I mean, like you say, right, games are no longer the ship it on a gold master and watch it price waterfall at retail, right, over a period of years. We are just getting started now. We officially entered closed beta on August 28th in North America and Europe at PAX Prime, and it is what we call a 24/3 beta right now, where we're only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday for people who get into the beta and they're able to play, and now certain of them are able to stream and create videos around the game. The next step for us is to take that from 24/3 into 24/7 beta operations, of course. But what you don't have in the game yet are some of our progression systems, right? The session itself is still a pretty magical thing. We continue to tune that all the time. We're making it better all the time, taking a ton of feedback from community people on sort of, hey, this hero's too overpowered, this hero needs a nerf, this hero needs to be buffed. There's a lot of that, but now it's time to add the systems around that, right? How do I progress from match to match? How do I level up as a player, not just within a match, but between matches and things like that? What sort of social structures are there going to be for groups of players that want to clan or guild together, things like that? Getting feedback on all this stuff is how we progress from 24/3 into 24/7, and then ultimately from there to an open beta. The data will tell us when it's time, right? And the community will tell us when it's time. But we're feeling really good about where things are right now as we head into the holiday period with our closed beta. We'll be opening up more hours, more servers, more languages as we go. But it'd be a little early to give you a time frame on how we move from there.
Right.
But once you do, then it gets to
or
what
just
you're
in
saying.
how you're handling it. It's really interesting. So get into the open beta is going to have a different phase, and then obviously when the game launches, you have a specific target launch window for the actual.
Of course we do, but nothing I could talk about at this time.
Or you could if you want, but you probably get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I won't do that.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to visit
Absolutely.
with us.
Thanks for
Sounds
having
great.
us.
And how can people find out more about the game and actually potentially register for the open beta once you reach that phase?
Absolutely, yeah. People can register for closed beta now at gogigantic.com, and all you need to be is either on Windows 10, which is free if it is an upgrade from Windows 7 or 8, or have an Xbox One, and you can get into either platform there with one code.
Very cool. Dave, thanks so much for taking the time
Thanks
to
for
stop
having
by.
me.
Yes,
You bet. Take
first
care.
TwitchCon. I think that was great.
Gotta love
Appreciate
it.
it very much.